Now next will be chapter will be 3, and that chapter name is methodology. So I'm just trying to have some space so that I start writing the chapter 3 from this page only. Now this is the chapter 3. The name of this particular chapter is methodology. Earlier, people were writing plan and procedure. But now the people have stopped writing that heading and the methodology heading has started. Now it is 3.1.0 will be introduction. In this, you should write the review of related literature has been presented in detail in the previous chapter. Now this sentence links this particular chapter with the previous chapter. The present chapter is devoted to the methodology followed in conducting this study. You can say this research or you can say this study. It is being written under headings like, now you have to write the heading is sample, tool. Now, if you are conducting an experimental study, then you have to write experimental design. And if you are not conducting the experimental study, then you need not to write the experimental design. So I'm making it a red one. That means if in your research it is required, you write. If it is not required, you need not to write. Then next is procedure of data collection and data analysis. It is being written under headings like this. The details are given in separate captions to follow. Now, my dear friend, it's very, very important because in many of the theses, they are writing the definition of population, definition of sample. They are giving the sampling techniques. All these are not to be given because you are not writing a book on research methodology, but you are using the understanding of your research methodology in writing this particular chapter. So please, for God's sake, do not give the information which is of theoretical in nature. You have to write what you did, that's all. So it is 3.2.0. Here it is sample. Now in this particular one, you should talk about your population. It was the class 7th students. You know it. You go to your title page. Here it is class 7th students of government senior secondary schools of Delhi. That's your population. Okay. And if that is the population, then you should talk about that. So you should talk about the population, and population, I told you, it was class 7th students studying in government senior secondary schools of Delhi. That is your population. Now from this population, you have taken a sample. So you should write the sampling technique, the sampling technique used for selecting the sample, and then you should talk about the size of the sample. My dear friend, when you are writing the sampling technique, you must keep in mind the objectives. In the present case, because you are taking the class 7th students studying in government senior secondary schools of Delhi, so it is possible to have a frame, because you can make the list of all the class 7th students studying in government schools of Delhi. Now from this particular one, you have to select the sample. Now your objectives, I'll take you back to the objectives. That see, your objectives are something like this. That to compare adjusted mean scores of achievement in Hindi of students belonging to concept attainment model lecture method by considering pre-achievement in Hindi as covariate. That means you have to have two groups. So when you are taking the class 7th students, now you cannot do it randomly. So you have to take the students as they are available. It is called intact. More information I gave when I talk about the different sampling methods and things of that variety. And if you see the variable objective 3 and objective 4, in objective 3, I have gender, and in objective 4, I have the locale. So that means you must stratify your population on the basis of gender as well as on the basis of locale. So from these objectives, it is very clear that you have to use the probability sampling method or probability sampling technique, number one. And in the probability sampling technique, either you use stratified random sampling or you use stratified proportionate random sampling. And what is the difference between them? I'll discuss when I take it in detail. And then you should know the sample size. Now for determining the sample size, there are tables which you can use, and there is a formula also which you can use in order to compute the sample size. And then you should write the main characteristics of members of sample, not population, but members of sample. And this you should write in detail. Why? Because your finding will be understood by the reader, keeping in mind the sample the characteristics of the sample. If the characteristics of the sample differs, maybe the same finding the somebody else may not find. So it is very important describing your sample in as much detail as not impossible. Now, once you have written the sample, then it is 3.3.0. Any question you want to ask about the sample? The details of sampling technique I am not giving. The sample size I am not giving, because these are the theoretical aspect which I cover in my basics of research or fundamentals of research. But if there is a question you want to ask, please ask the question. Now, main characteristics means that were there males, females belonging to which type of families, etc., etc. Are they from urban area, rural area? Are they from small family, large family, etc., etc.? Those characteristics which are likely to make a difference in your study. Because in your study is an experimental study, and in this one, the dependent variable is your achievement in English, in Hindi concepts. So whatever you think can influence this particular variable, then you should see that your sample represents those one. So that you have to decide. No, SAO multi-stage will not be in this particular one. You cannot use the multi-stage. Why? Because it is not widespread. And it is not called multi-stage random sampling. It is called multi-stage sampling. So SAO you cannot do it. Because when you talk of a population, you should know that your population is widespread or your population is not widespread. In this case, the population is not widespread. Therefore, you cannot use the cluster sampling and you cannot use the multi-stage sampling. It's not possible. If you want to know more about it, attend my another class. Okay, now once you have written the information of the sample of your study, please see, it's not somebody else, it is your study. Then next will be the tool. Now in this particular research, now you know the variables. You can see the variables. I'm taking you back to the objectives. Now these are the objectives. And these objectives, one variable is your achievement in Hindi, which will be assessed at 2 points of time. Another will be vocabulary in Hindi. So achievement in Hindi, then vocabulary in Hindi. So these are the variables for which you have to have a tool. For gender, you have not to have a tool. For local, you have not to have a tool. So therefore, you must know your variable for which you have to have a tool. So there are only two variables for which you have a tool. One is achievement in Hindi. Another is vocabulary in Hindi. So we write like this. That achievement in Hindi and vocabulary in Hindi were the two variables for which now whether you developed it or somebody else developed it, that we have to write. The two variables for which the tools, if you are developing one tool yourself and you are taking another tool developed by another one, that is your choice. So I'm writing in different ways. You can use anyone you like. Were the two variables for which tools were developed by the researcher. You can write like this, or you can write like this. Or you can write achievement in Hindi and vocabulary in Hindi were the two variables for assessing we cannot use the word measure. The difference between measurement and assessment, I will talk in my another lecture, which will start from 9th, and that is fundamentals of research. So for assessing achievement in Hindi, achievement in the test was developed by the researcher. Now, for vocabulary in Hindi was assessed with the help of vocabulary in Hindi test developed by Gupta 2004. Now, because there may be a standardized one and you may use that particular tool, Bharti, in case of qualitative research, you will be using the questionnaire or interview schedule. So you should talk about that. Just wait, I will be coming. Nothing to worry about it. So Bharti, if you are having qualitative one, you will be using that tool. And I will talk about that. So then either you can write achievement in Hindi and vocabulary in Hindi were the two variables for which tools were developed by the researcher, or you can write achievement in Hindi and vocabulary in Hindi were the two variables for assessing achievement in Hindi. Achievement in Hindi test was developed by the researcher. Vocabulary in Hindi was assessed with the help of vocabulary in Hindi test developed by the Gupta. Okay, and then you say the details are given details are given separately in the following captions. Now, here it is 3 point. So this was 3.3. So I'm writing 3.31. So that is why you cannot write 3.3, because there is a subheading of the main heading. And now here you can write achievement in Hindi test. Now, since you developed it, so you should write how many items are there. So you should talk about the content cover, that what content was covered in the test. Then you should talk about the number of items. I'm not writing questions, because item is a technical word which you can use for test, for questionnaire, for observation schedule, for any whatsoever, any tool, no problem at all. So number of items, and then you should say the types of questions. And you should talk about the time given for answering, because it was developed by the researcher. So name of the developer you should write in the beginning. So you should just write the achievement in the test was developed by the researcher. No need of writing your name. You just say that achievement in Hindi test was developed by the researcher. And then you talk about the content cover, number of the items, type of the items, at time given. Because it was not standardized, so therefore you need not to write the reliability and validity. Then 3.3.2, it becomes the vocabulary in Hindi test. And then you can say vocabulary in Hindi test developed by Gupta 2004 was used. It was developed for see, your sample is the class 7th, and you have to see whether it was meant for class 7th or not. If they say it was developed for high school will have class 7th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, no problem. Or you can say it was developed for middle. It was developed for middle classes. And middle class is up to 8, so that's perfectly correct. Then 8 it comprised, how many questions were there in this? So say it comprised 50 items of multiple choice type. Okay, so each correct answer was given 1 mark. Subjects mean the students. The subject is a technical word which we use in research. So you can say subjects were given 1 hour for writing the answers. So each correct answer was given 1 marks. There was no negative marking. If there was a negative marking, you can write. The subjects were given 1 hour for writing the answers, and then you should talk about the reliability and validity. Then you can say the content validity was established for the test retest retest reliability coefficient was 0.87. Now these are the details you have written. Now, if you want to collect the qualitative information, then you have to write the details of the tool which you are using. So for qualitative, for collecting qualitative data, normally researchers use questionnaire, interview schedule. Sometimes you may use observation schedule also. You may use a combination, or you may use any one of them which suits to your research. So therefore, these are the tools which normally people use for collecting the qualitative information from the field. But dear friends, in philosophical research, and historical research, normally you do not require any tool. I repeat, in philosophical research and historical research, you do not require any tool to collect the information. Why? Because in the philosophical research, you have to see the original source and you have to refer to the original source and you analyze it. In case of historical research, you may be using the primary source to collect the information, or if the primary source is not available, then you might be using the secondary source for collecting the information. So there, basically, you don't require any tool. But if you are conducting a case study, you do require a tool. And that tool which you use can be a questionnaire. Yes, interview can be focus group, no problem at all. Because when you are conducting the interview, actually interview schedule, the interview, you should attend my other webinar on for 15 days. There I take in detail, because you can't conduct interview for anyone you like. No, it is the more time consuming. If you collect the information from 15 people, and for one person, if you are taking 2 hours, you need the 30 hours. You do not have that time. So the interview schedule is not to be used everywhere. Where it is to be used, I will talk when I talk about the details of the tool. So here, these are the one. So you can write the information, detailed information about all these. And these are unstandardized. You can never standardize the questionnaire, never standardize the observation schedule, never standardize the interview schedule. So you can describe them. So this is how you should write your information about the tools. Then next will be the experimental design. It is 4.0 experimental design. Now, here you should write the name of the design, name of the experimental design. Design means experimental design. You know, I hope you understand that experimental designs, they are broadly classified under the 3 families. One is called pre-experimental design, another is called quasi-experimental design, and another is called true experimental design. The true experimental designs cannot be used. I repeat, the true experimental designs cannot be used in social sciences and humanities. These are best suited to the pure sciences. So please remember, this is very important. So in humanities, you have to use the quasi-experimental design. more information I will give you if you happen to attend my another lecture for 15 days on fundamentals of research or basics of research, which we are starting from 9th. So you have to write the name of the design, then you have to write the layout. Then you have to write the name of the treatment. And you have to write the duration of the treatment. Then you have to write the assessment of dependent variable. And then you have to write the methods of controlling intervening variables. So these are the information which you have to give under experimental design. And these must be given in detail so that any researcher interested in replicating your research, then he or she should be able to do it. Because the complete information the person will get from your thesis. So he can replicate. He will select the sample the way you have selected. He will take the tools which you have used. So therefore, the things will be very simple. Now, once you have written the sample, the tool, and experimental design, then 3.5.0 will be procedure of data collection. Please understand, nowhere you should talk about the theoretical aspect. In many of the theses, they talk about what is an experimental design, what are its characteristics, what are its types, and then take the different experimental design and they keep on giving the same information which is given in different books. That is not required here. That is required only if you are interested in writing a book on experimental design, then the answer is yes, you can write that. But if you are not interested, then you should not write. Now here, in the procedure of data collection, you should describe it in detail, the way you have collected the data. So that if I want to replicate your research, then I can read this procedure and I can follow it while conducting my research. So that later on I can see whether my findings and the findings of your research were the same or not. So here, what you have to do is that because you will be collecting the data from the field, your field can be office staff, your field can be students, your field can be principals of the schools, of the colleges, whatever it is. So you have to take permission from the head of the institute. If you are collecting data from the corporate sector, then you have to take the permission from the head of the corporate sector. If you are going to the Wipro office, or if you're going to the Dell office, or if you are going to Ernst & Young office, then naturally you have to take permission before you go there, and then take the time, and then go accordingly. Now, similarly, if you have to collect the data from the college or from the university or from the school, you must take permission. From the university, you must take permission from the head of the department. If it is a college, you must take permission from the principal. If it is a school, you must take permission from the school principal. Now, after taking the permission, so you should write, you will be writing here that permission from the head of the institute was taken. Okay. Then the subjects. The subjects were told about the purpose of coming. So you should tell the purpose, why you have come to their institute and why do you want their support. So therefore you give that information to them and tell them that your performance in this particular session will not be influencing your performance in your examination. It has nothing to do with your annual examination or some other examination. The information being collected will be used only for the research purpose. So that the subjects are very clear that this particular will in no way adversely affect them. Whether you are collecting the information about their vocabulary, about their achievement in Hindi or anything else, it doesn't matter. So that you have to. So after giving this and introducing yourself, then you will give one copy of that answer sheet. Why? Because on answer sheet, they will be giving some information. They might be writing their name, their gender, their class, name of the institute, etc. Okay. If there is a subject, if he says or she says, I don't want to write my name, you cannot insist on it. So do not insist. If any of the subject does not want to write the name, let him not write the name. It's perfectly correct. Okay. Now, once they have written, then you distribute one copy of the test booklet and request them not to write anything on the test booklet. So you will be giving one test booklet to each of the subjects. And after distributing, ask them to read the instructions. And once they finish reading the instruction, make sure that they have understood it. You can ask the subjects whether they want to have any clarification about as how they should write their responses. If none, fine. If any of the subject says, I have not understood, then you should explain it. Now, once they are clear as how to write, then you ask if there is a particular time allotted, then you should tell them that you will be given this much time to write your answers. If there is no time limit, because in some of the tools, there may be no time limit. Like if it is a scale or it's an inventory, you may not have any time. So if there is a time, then you should tell them that you will be given half an hour or you will be given 40 minutes, whatever is the time. And then ask them to start writing their responses. As soon as they complete, then you collect both the answer sheet as well as the test booklet. Suppose in this particular institute, you have gone in the morning, then in some institute, you should go in the evening also, so that you are able to have the data from the people, those who were in the morning shift and those who were in the evening shift. Because those who are in the evening shift, their performance may be slightly different from those who were in the morning. So you have to collect it. Now, after collecting, then the scoring is to be done as illustrated in the manual. So you can see the manual, and in the manual, the procedure of scoring will be given. The key will be given, so you can use it. And this is how you collect your data. So you have to write it in a paragraph, and it must be full of details, exactly the way you have done it. Then 3.6.0 will be data analysis. Now here you can write, there are two ways of writing. One is the data were analyzed with the help of one-way ANCOVA and two-way ANCOVA. So you need not to give the formula, you need not to write that SPSS was used. There is no need, because here it is only the data analysis. It's not asking the mechanism, whether you did it manually or you took the help of someone else. It didn't ask that. You just have to say that. This is the one way to do it. Another way to do it like this, that the data analysis is being given objective wise. Is being given objective wise in the following, or is given objective wise. Then you see the objective. I'm going to take you to your objectives. So this, your objective, the 4 objectives, and you copy them and you come here, paste it and make changes. Now here I say for comparing adjusted mean scores of achievement in Hindi of students belonging to concept attainment model and lecture method by considering pre-achievement and covariate as a covariate for comparing this one way and COVA was used. Now here I will write for comparing again one way and COVA was used. Then here for studying the effect of teaching strategy, gender, and this. Two by two factorial design and COVA was used. Or if you want to make little change, then you can say the data related to data related to study the effect of this. The 2 by 2 factorial design and COVA was used. So it is up to you whether you want to write objective wise, you can write objective wise. If you do not want to write objective wise, then you can just write the way I have written here. Just only 2 sentences or 1 sentence, not more than that. So either you can say 2-way and COVA, or if you like, you can say 2 by 2 factorial design. Now, if you are having a qualitative data, then those people who have the qualitative data, then they should write something like this. Qualitative data were analyzed with the help of content analysis, or if you have done the SWOT analysis, then you can write were analyzed with the help of content analysis as well as SWOT analysis. Or if you want to write were analyzed with the help of content analysis. So the choice is yours. If you want, you can write like this, were analyzed with the help of content analysis, or you can say were analyzed with the help of content analysis as well as SWOT analysis, or you can say were analyzed with the help of SWOT analysis. So these are the different options available for those people who will be having the qualitative data. Now, so your chapter number 3 is over. So any question you want to ask, please come ask me the question. I'm going to your content. This was your content page. And here, of course, you know what you have to write: 2.2.0 and 2.2.3, no, 2.2.3.0. You know this, and then 2.4.0. Maybe it was sum up or something like this. In this, it was 3.2.0 will be sample, and 3.3.0 will be tool, and 3.4.0 will be experimental design. If it is not there, then you need not to write it. Then 3.5.0 will be data, procedure of data collection. And then 3.6.0 will be data analysis. And now the next chapter will be the fourth chapter. And this fourth chapter will be results and interpretation. Now here, this will be the 4.1.0 introduction, and 4.2.0. Now this particular caption heading will be according to your objective, the wording of the objective. So I will do that and will tell you. No, there is no need of writing whether it was descriptive or not. It's automatically clear from the descriptions when you are giving. No need of writing that. These are the things for book, not for thesis. Because if you are doing this study is an experimental study, if it is a survey study, it will be indicated. You will not write, the moment you write sample, then automatically means either it is an experimental study or it is a survey study. The moment you write that you collect the information by using the primary source, that means it is a philosophical research. So there is no need of writing it was a philosophical research. There is no need. But please, Raju, one important thing you should understand, because the understanding of your teacher may be different from my understanding. So therefore, please understand, if your teacher says you should write, please write. Because ultimately he is your teacher and you should obey him. You can discuss with him that such and such person told me this, but if he doesn't agree, then you should agree what he says. Because important is your degree is important. Side by side, your understanding is also important. When you become the guide, then you do not make the same mistakes which you made when you were doing the research, and that was because of your guide. So please don't do that. No problem at all. So now here, this 4.2.0 and 4.3.0 will be the headings which I will take it out from my objectives. So now I will be going to the results and interpretation. Do not write interpretations, because there is only one interpretation. You can't have multiple interpretations. So now here you have chapter 4, and it will be results and interpretation. Now, what do you want? Should I take the data according to the objective which I have written and will tell you how exactly this has to be written, or I just describe? So I'm writing the introduction for you, and meanwhile you think that should I take some data, then analyze it, and then write? How will I be writing the results and interpretations? The methodology followed in conducting this study has been given in detail, in the previous chapter. In the present chapter, the results and its interpretation are being given in separate captions according to objectives given in chapter 1. So in the present chapter, the results and in interpretation are being given in separate captions according to the objectives given in chapter number 1. So let's say, what have you to say? Raju, you have not understood what the meaning of as per title. the result cannot be as per title analysis, cannot be as per title analysis, must be as per objectives. So Raju, what you have written is technically incorrect. So I want to know about other people. Should I just describe this particular chapter, how you have to write, or should I take the data and then take the, analyze it and then write the interpretation? Raju, it's not as per today's title. I have given you, it is as per objective, not title. So Mr. Raju, you should understand it's not as per title. Bharti, I will not be able to do the qualitative one because it has to be done content analysis. And I cannot do it online. I will not be able to explain you how it has to be done. Okay, so let me take one data, and for that, let me first take my SPSS. I'm opening the SPSS, and then I will are you able to see this particular sheet, SPSS sheet? All right. So let me now go to my Word file. Say here, my first objective was like this. First objective was to compare adjusted mean scores of achievement in Hindi of students belonging to concept attainment model and lecture method group by considering pre-achievement. Now, how will I write the heading? Please understand. Now here I am writing the heading. So you should know. Treatment-wise comparison of adjusted mean scores of achievement in Hindi treatment wise comparison of adjusted mean scores of achievement in Hindi of students by considering their achievement in Hindi as covariate. So this is the caption heading which you have to write according to this. So now you can see from this particular objective that you have to have the groups, or you can say treatment. One is the concept attainment model group, and another is the lecture method, and another variable is the pre-achievement, and another is post-achievement. So let us go to my SPSS. This is my SPSS. So I first go to variable view, and here I say groups. Or if you want to write treatment, the choice is yours. So there are two groups in the values. I say number one is concept attainment group, concept attainment model group, and another lecture method group. Now then another is pre-achievement, pre-achievement in Hindi. And it is a continuous variable, so it's fine. Then it post dot achievement dot in dot Hindi. So these are the three variables related to which I need the data. So here is groups. If I take the concept attainment group, you can take the same number of the subjects or some different number, no problem. If you want, you can copy like this also. And let us write the pre-achievement. So the same tool, the same achievement in Hindi test, you will use before giving the treatment as well as after giving the treatment to both the groups. And suppose the maximum score is 40, then in the pre-achievement, the scores are like this. I'm just giving the scores like this. So these are the scores which I have got at the pre one. And these are the scores of the post one. These are the scores I'm just writing randomly. So don't bother about it. So I have entered the data. Now I go to analyze, and then I go to general linear model, and then my fixed factor is group, my pre-achievement is a covariate, and post-achievement is the dependent variable. So now I need the mean. So it will give me the mean, descriptive, homogeneity, estimate of size, no problem. There will be nothing more. So these are the raw mean of the concept attainment model. This is the raw mean of the achievement, that lecture method group, and this is concept attainment model group. There were 29 people in concept attainment and 30 people in lecture. It doesn't make a difference. That's fine, nice. And there is a homogeneity of variance condition is satisfied, because here this F value is 0.203 and it has 65.4% error. So the homogeneity of variance condition is satisfied. Now you have to take this particular information from here. And this is the group is 39.413. That means it is significant at 0.01 level. And this will be your adjusted mean. You know the concept of adjustment. I'll just give one simple example. If you have a guest, that many a times the two family members, they share the bed. If you alone sleep on it, then you know your area of movement. And if you have to share the bed with another one, then your area of movement is restricted. So you have to adjust for that night. So you cannot move the way you move when you sleep alone. That is adjustment. Whenever there is a change of the season, we adjust with the temperature. You know, if you are traveling by the bus and there are a lot of people in the bus, and if another person is standing in front, alongside of you, and maybe an old lady, you may like to share the seat with that old lady. Now, how do you share? That if the two people are already sitting and you want to adjust one more person on the same seat, then you have to little bit adjust. Someone moves ahead or someone moves on the side and things of that. That is what is the adjustment. So here the adjusted mean is 23.84 and unadjusted mean you can say it is also 23.84. So not much difference. Anyway, but so we have to now take the values. Let me copy this and tell you how to make the table. Now I'm telling you how to make the table. Now this was the first objective was to compare adjusted mean scores of achievement in Hindi of student belonging to concept attainment model group and lecture method group by considering their pre-creativity as in Hindi as covariate. Then you say the data were analyzed with the help of one way and COVA and the results are given in table 4.1. This is the fourth chapter and the first table. So I'll say table 4.1. So let me insert the table here. Here I say source of variance. Here it is DF. Here it is SS. SS means sum of square. And it is ANCOVA, so SSY dot X. And then next will be M SSY dot X. And then it will be FY dot X. So it will be value. So here it will be the strategy because in the title you can see you have written the strategy. I can show you your title. In the you have written, okay, you have written effect of concept attainment, study of effect of concept attainment model. So you have a strategy. So you can say, let me once again join because there is some problem here. Okay, so strategy of teaching. And then it is error. And then it is total. So now you can see your output. So in the group, the degree of freedom is 1 because there are 2, 2 minus 1 is 1. And in error, it is 56. And in the total, it will be 58. And then SSY dot X group is 421.79. And the error is 599.30. And then this will be 421.79 because 421.79 divided by 1, 599.30 divided by 56, that comes to 10.70. And then you have F value 39.41. That means 421.79 divided by 10.7. So this is how you have to enter the data from your analysis. And now this value is significant at 0.01. So I can put the double star, and below this I can put double star, and I can say significant at 0.01 level. And then here I say summary of one way and COVA of achievement in Hindi of students by considering their pre-achievement Hindi as covariate. Now this is the information I have taken from my output, and the interpretation I will do tomorrow. And one more thing, you can note it down from the output. This I will use tomorrow. You can note down the adjusted mean score. For the concept attainment, it is 23.84. It is 23.84, and for lecture method, it is 18.487, so I can say 49. These two adjusted means you note down, I will use it tomorrow. So with this, I'm closing it today, and I will complete the interpretation tomorrow because I have already taken 11 minutes more than what is required. And tomorrow will be the last lecture in this series. If you have to ask any question, you can come prepared with a question and you ask when I give you the opportunity to ask. So any question you want to ask right now, then I will close it. I'm waiting for your answer, for your question, if you have any question to ask. So I will be taking one more extra class tomorrow, nothing to worry about it. So if there is no question, so thank you very much. See you tomorrow.